Today we're going to visit Sister Mary. Sister Mary is originally from the Republic of Ireland. She converted to Islam and she has a story. We're going to go to her and listen to her journey to Islam. Please come with us. So, Sister Mary, what attracted you to Islam? Tell me about your journey.
When I met my husband, the thing that caught my attention was that Allah will forgive you for everything, anything, no matter how big or how small it is. That's what attracted me to Islam.
So you met him first?
Yes. I didn't know what a Muslim was until I came to England.
Ah. So you were not a Muslim before you met your husband?
No.
How did you meet him then? Was he a student?
No, we were working together.
Mm-hmm. And you like this idea that you will be forgiven?
Yes.
How does that compare to what you used to believe in?
Because you would go to the church and speak to the priest and give him your sins. And then he would tell you go outside and say three Hail Marys for our fathers, but you didn't feel like you were forgiven. Mm. Whereas in Islam, you can put your head on the floor, you can talk to Allah, and you can feel you're forgiven, no matter how big the problem is or how big the sin is. Allah will forgive you.
But of course, in Islam, it's not just a verbal thing. If you ask for forgiveness, you need to prove it. You need to prove that you're not going back to whatever you were doing.
Yeah, of course, inshallah. Yeah.
Now, once you've decided to become a Muslim, didn't that create problems for you in your community, your family? What was their reaction?
I was a Muslim before I told them. I was wearing the hijab and everything. I started wearing the hijab. Then when I was going to Ireland, I took it off. And then I was getting deeper and deeper into Islam, and I said I can't be two-faced, be wearing it here and then taking it off. And then I have children to say I can't do this. So then I told my parents I'm coming home, but I'm wearing the hijab. My father didn't like it. And my mum, she thought it was going to be tahiyya. Mm. She was asking me in the airport, where's the rest of it? I said, no, this is okay for now. Let me cope with this. Mm. And then, but my father, he's very old-fashioned, and he thinks I'm brainwashed, and he thinks my husband's forcing me to do it. But I told him this is Islam. When I found out he was sick, I wrote him a letter and I gave him a copy of the Quran in English. I don't think he's ever read it. Mm. But I just have to show him that Islam is, I'm not different. I even asked my sisters and my brothers, do you feel any difference between us? And they said, no, you're still the old Mary. Just you wear the hijab. And they asked me questions about Islam, why you wear it. And I said the beauty is for the husband, not for the public. My father still has a bit of, after 22 years, he still...
You visit him?
Yes, I go every year. Hmm. And I want my kids to see their grandparents.
He's still bitter about it?
He's not bitter, he's okay. It's just, I can feel the gap between them because I used to be daddy's little girl, but you're not daddy's little girl anymore. Mm. So, but he's still friendly and things like that. He's still works with his farm and everything. And
you come from a farming family?
Yes.
Which town, where in Ireland?
County Galway, a little town called Ballymo. Mm. It's so small that if you blink, you will miss it. But we're on the border between Roscommon and Galway, but we're Galway family. And it's me, my parents, 3 brothers and 4 sisters.
Now, how was your upbringing? Were you brought up within a religious sort of environment?
We were brought up as so-called Catholics, that we would go to the church because our father made us. My mum, she would only go at funerals or births or christenings or communions or confirmations. She wouldn't religiously go every Sunday. My father would go every Sunday, every Saturday night, and he would fall asleep, and then we'd have to wake him to stand up. Then when we got bigger, and we don't go to the church with my father, he would ask us, have you been to church? But I could never tell a lie, or my face would go very red. So we'd have to go somewhere near the church or inside the back door of the church.
Pretend.
To tell him, yes, we were at church, Daddy. And even when I came here to London, I was going to church in West Hendon. I was going to church just so that I could tell my father, yes, I am going to church. Because I know I couldn't tell him a lie, even though I'm not in the same country as him. But that's the respect I have for my father.
Now, once you've become a Muslim, of course you have your husband next to you. But what about the community? Have you become part of the Muslim community, or did you feel lonely or any of this?
In the beginning, 22 years ago, I felt very lonely because I was newly married, a new Muslim, and I had my first daughter. And I don't have any family here. My husband has a brother here, but he wasn't very close to him. And it was very hard trying to... Then I was going to Sunday school in Wembley to learn Arabic and to try and find sisters to learn Islam with, and just to get a community to be around and to learn Islam from them.
And then you just join whatever activities that are going on?
I sent a letter to one lady who was doing a Nisa society back years ago, and I wrote her a letter and told her, I'm a new Muslim, I would like to meet new sisters. And I met 2 or 3 sisters that introduced me to the community, and then it just grew bigger and bigger. So now I've got Afghani friends, I've got Spanish friends, I've got Irish, I've got English, Scottish. So I've got a big community.
I'm sure it makes it easier for someone to practice Islam if you're part of such a community, isn't it?
Yes, because then we can learn from each other, and we learn the mistakes from each other, and we learn the right path from each other. And when I hear there's a new Muslim, I like to introduce myself and get to them and show them that it's not... You can't run before you can walk. Take it slowly. Because it's not just about becoming a Muslim, stop drinking, you have to wear the hijab and everything. You have to take it slowly. Because when I started wearing the hijab, my husband said to me don't wear it for me, because I could die tomorrow. And I said, yeah, I'm not wearing it for you, I'm wearing it for Allah. So that's what I want to show new Muslims, that it's not... You can't run before you can walk.
Now, some of the sisters and the brothers I've spoken to, they knew Islam somehow before they knew the Muslims. Now, in your case, you met your husband, and it was through him that you knew Islam, or you learned Islam. Was it an easy thing, and was he religious himself and enthusiastic about you becoming a Muslim?
Yes, he showed me all the things. He used to pray 5 times a day. He even told me that before we got together, he did istikhara. I was inquisitive, what was that? Then when I met his family, because in Ireland we have a big family, but we're not very, how can I say, not very warm to each other. We're very cold, as we say. But when I went to Algeria, I felt like, oh, I am part of a family.
Your husband is from Algeria?
Algeria, yeah.
Which part of Algeria?
Algiers.
The capital itself. Yeah. So you visited his family there?
Yes. I met my mother-in-law, and for the first time, she saw me, she hugged me for about half an hour. That I never got that from my parents. I never got hugs and kisses and cuddles from my family.
So she was very welcoming?
She was very welcoming, yeah. So I found it very strange, but that's why I felt like I was part of the family, because they welcomed me even though I was a stranger to them. So it was an eye-opener.
Now, the process of learning about Islam, have you learned Arabic at all?
I'm trying, but it's very hard to grasp. Yeah.
So you had to learn about Islam in English?
Yes.
Was it How did it happen? Through books, through lectures? How did you do it?
As I said to you, I was going to Sunday school to learn Arabic in Wembley. Then I was to learn through sisters and learn through books. I used to go to Baker Street to learn from. They used to do halakas and talks on Saturday and Sundays at the weekend, before the kids were born, because I knew when the kids come, it's very hard to learn. And then as the kids grew up, I'm learning with them as well.
Now, how do you feel society at large treats you? You are, well, clearly you look European. People can see that you are most likely a European lady, but yet you are wearing the hijab and you're living a Muslim life. How is that perceived by the non-Muslim community around you?
Well, alhamdulillah, I've never had any problems. Maybe once or twice somebody has said to me, the mother of Jesus, can you bless me? I know other sisters have been told to go back to their own countries when they're English and they're living in their own country. But alhamdulillah, I've had no problems with anybody. The worst is when I go to Ireland and I'm speaking. When I open my mouth, they know I'm Irish, but I'm dressed like this. But
yeah, initially when you set foot in Ireland, they don't know who you are or where you come from.
Yeah.
But once you speak, they know you're Irish.
Yes.
So what's the reaction?
They're okay. They seem nice. They're kind. I just act normal, and that's it. But mashallah, they're welcoming. They have a lot of Syrians there. Even in my next town to me, they opened a big hotel for all the Syrians. They welcome all the Syrians. I even met some Syrians. They thought I was Syrian, and they welcomed me and they wanted me to come to a picnic. But I said to them, I'm sorry, I'm Irish, I'm here. And I couldn't speak their language, so my husband spoke on my behalf to speak to them in Arabic. So it was very welcoming, and I said to them, I hope that Ireland is treating you well, and that it's nice, mashallah, because when I was growing up, I didn't know what a Muslim was. But I knew there was a community in Dublin. There's a big community of Algerians and Moroccans in Dublin. But for it to come to the West, it's, mashallah, it's an eye-opener.
Maybe in your area where you grew up, there were no Muslims, or were there?
There was Pakistani people, but we didn't know they were Muslims. We just thought they were from India. Yeah. So now when I was going with my girls when they were young, they said, oh, Sarah and Yasmin is a Muslim name. I said, yeah, my kids have a Muslim name, they're Muslims. And they were shocked to hear that I was Irish and I'm bringing my family back here. So it's amazing.
Now, in your case, an Irish mother and an Algerian father, does this impact in any way on the children? I mean,
no, we have disagreements which one they want to be, which side of the fence they want to be, but no, they're very proud of being half Irish, half Algerian. We'll see what happens when they grow up, I don't know.
And how do you manage bringing them up in an Islamic way? How do you do this? Just at home or?
No, at home with their friends, who they're mixing with. They go to Islamia school. My girls went to a private secondary school. It's not very much of a choice with the boys for secondary school. There's only one secondary school.
The Islamia? The Islamia?
Islamia, yeah.
Islamia.
Yeah. And just to teach them Arabic, let them to read the Quran, to love the Quran, and to understand it, not to be like their mother. And their friends they're keeping and their activities they're doing.
Are there any special activities for Muslim converts? Do you meet among yourselves or have something specifically for yourselves?
Not that I know of. What I have to do is like arrange a coffee morning in my house or hire a hall and have everybody come just so that we can all meet each other. There's nothing in the community for reverts at the moment.
Are there any indications that the number of people who convert to Islam is on the rise, or we cannot tell?
For Irish sisters, yes, I'm amazed that there's, even in this building we're in, there's 3 Irish sisters that are reverts.
Oh, really?
Yes. I just got a new neighbour, and she's from County Wicklow in Ireland. She's a revert, and I have another sister who lives upstairs. She's from Northern Ireland. And it's amazing. There was only one of us, now there's three of us.
And that's a coincidence, isn't it? I mean...
yeah, mashallah, yeah.
Is there something about the Irish wanting to convert to Islam, or this is happening everywhere?
Well, I thought it was very little of us, but now I think Sinead O'Connor has put an eye-opener on it as well, because she's reverted. She was a good big singer when I was growing up.
Yes,
and she's converted because she went to all the religions and she wasn't happy. So alhamdulillah, she's found Islam. I hope she's happy, inshallah.
Yeah, I saw her Twitter account.
Oh, okay.
And she writes some very nice things.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
I even wrote a comment and asked her to get in touch if she could, but most probably she's very busy.
Oh, okay, inshallah.
Are you in touch with her? No?
No, I haven't tried to... I think I'm very low on the verge of talking to her. I follow Yvonne Ridley. I'm proud of her, mashallah. And as I've told you, my friend Nora in Yorkshire, she's been to Palestine. She went with the convo years ago, I think 10, 12 years ago.
And she arrived in Gaza?
She arrived in Gaza. She brought her 7-seater. She dropped everything off that we did for her. Then she found her own way back. And it was amazing, mashallah.
She's Irish?
No, she's English revert.
She's English,
yeah.
I hear you use the word revert instead of convert. I use the word convert. Is that a preference for you, and why? What's the difference between the two words?
Because when I was a Christian, I thought I converted to Islam. But then when I learned Islam, people were telling me, no, you're a revert. We were born a Muslim. And then we just came back to Islam. We were guided the wrong way. So now I used to use convert, but now I use revert.
So they mean that we were born on the fitra, the natural instinct of being a Muslim by nature.
Yes, and it's
I
our
guess
parents
that's what
that baptize us and bring us to the church and stuff like that.
But I guess really what it means is that we've made the journey. That's what matters, doesn't it? We've made the journey. I mean, it's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, Islam is a journey. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that when you were young, you were not really too enthusiastic about going to church. Why exactly?
Found it boring. Because we go there, it's the same ritual. You go in, everybody sits in the church. It's kind of to see who's going to church, who's not going to church. And if you're not going to church, the people talk about you. So, and then the priest will say he's preaching whatever he has to do. And then you go up to the altar, you get communion, and back down to the seat. And then it was kind of very boring. It didn't catch the audience.
But can't one say the same thing about Muslim congregations, or are they different?
I don't know if was the upbringing or is it the Catholic upbringing. Islam is more, you believe it, and we live our day by it. Whereas Catholic, it was only once a week we went to the church. And most of us, even my sisters and my brothers, it would only be because our parents wanted us to go. We didn't want to go.
Is that why your brothers and sisters were more understanding of your conversion?
Probably because they're laid back. They only go, as I said, when somebody dies or there's a wedding. That's the only time they go to the church. My sisters, one of them, she said she's an atheist. She doesn't believe in anything. But I asked her, why do you baptize your children and why do you bring them to the church? She said, when they become older, they can choose their own way of life. So.
You still see her?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
You do. How do you deal with your family members? Do you make da'wah to them, or you just try to be kind to them and not speak about religion?
No, I do. I talk to my sisters. I'm very close with my sisters, the four of them. We talk about Islam. Even they get into discussions with my daughters, especially the atheist one. I do. I tell them about what's happening in the world and that this isn't Islam and that we shouldn't hurt a fly or we shouldn't kill anyone, because if we kill someone, it's killing the whole of humanity. And if we save someone, it's saving the whole of humanity. And sometimes it comes up in discussion what's happening in the world today. And I tell them that it's not us, and I hope you don't judge me or my religion for it. The same as, like we say, I'm Irish, but I'm not with the IRA. So just because you're Muslim doesn't mean you're with the rest of what's happening in the world today.
So there is an image imprinted in their minds about Islam and the Muslims because of the turmoil that's happening around the world.
Yeah, because years ago when I was first going to Algeria, my parents were scared that they're going to keep me. And my husband said, we have our own daughters, we don't need your daughter. Whereas stuff like they think that because I'm married to an Algerian or a Muslim, that they're going to take the kids and go and leave the wife. There is some stories of that, but it depends on the story.
Yeah, unfortunately, some Muslims behave badly, and that impacts negatively on the deen itself.
Yeah. But I do try to talk to my sisters about Islam and the goodness of Islam, and be kind to them, to show them that I'm still their sister, and Islam teaches us this way, and I don't, like, they still celebrate Christmas and Easter and all of that, and they know that my kids don't do that. And that we have Eid, and we have 2 Eids, and we make it exciting for them.
Now, you said a while ago that the difference between the way of life you were part of before you became a Muslim and the way of life you embraced afterwards is that here, in this case, in the latter way of life, it's a daily thing. It's like a commitment. Isn't that a big responsibility, a burden somehow?
That's what my sisters say. They could never become a Muslim because they couldn't pray 5 times a day. They couldn't fast in Ramadan. But I told them I used to think like that. I used to feel like that. But once you do it for the love of Allah, you get to know Allah first, and you love Islam, then you want to do it. Because in the beginning, I didn't know how to read my salah, but my husband told me just sit in the corner, face the Qibla, and just talk to Allah. And then try and do that 5 times a day. And then slowly we'll teach you how to pray the salah. And then with Ramadan, I thought, okay, I never can do this. I can never do this. And I remember the first day of Ramadan, we were at work, and it came to the adhan, and he was telling me, you have to go and eat your dates. It's finished. And I said, oh, I don't feel hungry. I'm fine. I'm okay. And then I didn't like dates. But then, subhanAllah, I came to like them after fasting. And
well, they don't have to be dates. They don't have to be dates.
I know, but that's the custom for Algerians. They have to have dates and milk or dates and water. But alhamdulillah, now I like it. But I told them slowly, just try half a day. It's like training the children how to fast. If you just try it for half a day, I'll try it for 1 day.
You also mentioned it was like when you talk to new reverts, you advise them that they should take it slowly. Because it's a process. It takes time. In your case, how long did it take?
I think I converted in March. The reason as well, because I was pregnant with my daughter Sarah. And I said, I can't, my husband told me when we have children, if you're going to the church, I'm going to the mosque, but the children cannot go to the church. So I said, why? And then I got more inquisitive and more inquisitive. And then I said, okay, how can we bring up a child by telling them go here, there, and everywhere? So when I learned more about Islam, and then I learned that, as I told you, that's the thing that grasped me, that Allah will forgive you.
This is interesting because now I understand that you did not really embrace Islam upon marriage immediately.
No.
So you just met, you agreed to get married, and it took a while for you to embrace Islam.
Yeah, because I started asking him questions. He couldn't find the answers for me. So he brought me to show me the mosque in Regent's Park. And Central Mosque, yeah. The security guard met me at the gate and said she's not allowed in, she doesn't wear hijab. So he brought me a bright pink hijab. So I had to go in with a bright pink hijab, and I was red with my face because I was embarrassed. And then we went, and then my husband said, okay, I'm going this side, you're going that side. I said, what's in there? He said, I don't know, I've never been to the women's side. So I go in there, and I just find the toilets and a place to play, and upstairs was a place to pray. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't have a sister to bring me. At that time, I told you, I didn't know very many Muslims.
A bit chaotic, the start.
Yes. And then he started bringing me to the halakas downstairs in Central Mosque.
What I'm really trying to clarify here is that it wasn't because he wanted you to be a Muslim that you became a Muslim.
No. No. I started asking him questions.
Because anyway, in Islam, a husband cannot compel his wife or cannot compel anybody to be a Muslim. It has to be out of completely free will.
Yeah, because I asked them, I'm not Muslim, are you allowed to marry me and stuff like that? And they said, yes, as long as you have a religion. Yes, they are. And then as long as there's potential that you might become a Muslim. So then I just started.
So you became a Muslim when you were pregnant with your first child?
Yes.
Subhanallah. And of course, you were trying to reason out what sort of future the family will have if you were...
Well, yeah, if I was going to church every Sunday and my child couldn't come with me, and the father's going every Friday to Jummah, it's kind of be conflicting for them. So then I started, let me find out what Islam is all about, and being a Muslim, and then, alhamdulillah, Allah guided me.
Well, it's all in Allah's hands. I mean, people, it's amazing some of the stories I hear from people, how they came to know about Islam. Exactly like you said in the beginning, some of them never met a Muslim until something accidentally happened, and then it was like an eye-opener, or as if God was paving the way for them.
Like Yusuf Islam. He didn't know about Islam until he was drowning in the sea, or his story. Yeah, so it's...
Yeah, true.
SubhanAllah, it's amazing.
Well, Sister Mary, this was really exciting. Thank you very much.
Okay, alhamdulillah.